All right, hi everybody. We're going to be working on an activity. We're going to call it, let's get it highlighted here, area rectangles, show work. So we all know about rectangles, length times width is the area. So I'm going to ask you number one, we need to find the area, which is length times width. And the question says, what is the area in square meters of a rectangle with a length of 88 7/10 meters and a width of 2.2 meters. So make a sketch of a rectangle. So I'm going to put a sketch right here. The longest side is 88, so 88 7/10 meters, and the shortest side is 2.2. That's actually very long and skinny. Should probably made it a lot longer. So it's 88.7 meters by 2.2 meters. And we know the area is length times width, so all you got to do is write the length and then use parentheses for multiplication times the width. And then use your calculator, either your online calculator or the calculator here. So I'm going to pause the video, type it in, come back on. So my calculator gave me this answer, which is 195.14, and it's meters squared, because area, you have square units. So I can't emphasize it enough. You need to label with square units. All right, on to number two. So what I did for number two is I pinched my fingers and I moved it so it made it larger. It's much easier to work in the cami if you make it bigger and you're writing with your finger. But if you have a stylus, it's even better yet. But just make it bigger so you can write in that space, and it's easier to make neater marks and neater numbers and neater letters. So number two, again, we're finding the area. We have a rectangle. It has an area of 38 inches square. We already know the area. The length of the rectangle is 19. We're supposed to find the width. So take your pencil or your finger or whatever, and you're going to just sketch the rectangle. You know the area is 38 inches squared. You already know what the answer is going to be when you multiply the two sides together. You know one of the sides is 19. So I'll mark it 19. We're supposed to find the other side. So think about it. The area formula is length times width. So if the length is 19, you put 19. The width we don't know, so times W, equals the area. So you have a simple equation. Length times width is 38. To get the W, the width by itself, you would divide by 19 on both sides, and you get W equals 2. So 2 is not the final answer, though, because it's in inches. So the question asks, how many inches would that be? So you would label that 2 inches. You can use IN. So the final answer for the width is 2 inches. All right, in number three, we have another rectangle, because we're dealing with rectangles here. I'm going to use the highlighter. A rectangular tarp. The tarp is 3 times as long as it is wide. So it's 3 times longer than it is wide. Its width is 7 meters. What's the area of the tarp? All right, sketch a rectangle. So when you do these problems, I'm expecting you to make a quick sketch. You don't have to be an artist to do that. But you do know that the length of it is 3 times its width. So make it longer than it is wide. And the width is 7 meters. So put 7m at the width. So all you got to do is think, well, 3 times that, 3 times 7, 3 times the width is 21. So we know that each of those sides of the rectangle is 21 meters. And remember, for area, All we got to do is multiply the length times the width. So now, what's the area? Area equals the length times the width. Length is 21 times the width of 7, which is 147. And area is labeled with square units, so we need to use meters squared. So think about area. You've talked about this for years, since elementary school. Area of a rectangle, length times width. Now we got to apply it here in high school geometry to find out measurements that we don't know. Start with a picture, label what you know, and use the formula to help you find the answer to what you're asked to find. So make sure you read the questions carefully. All right, in number 4, a certain rectangular floor covers 140 square yards. So it's covering 140 square yards. It says square yards. We already know the area. It tells you the area. Its width is 5. How long is the floor? All right, let's draw a picture so we can see what we're talking about. So you have a rectangle. We already know the area that it covers is 140 square yards. So you can write yards with an exponent of 2. That you already know. We know the width is 5 yards. We're trying to find how long this thing is. I'll call it L. So again, the formula, area equals length times width. We know the area is 140. We don't know the length, but we know the width is 5. So we want to get L by itself. In order to get L by itself, we need to divide by 5 on both sides. So now the L is by itself, and 140 divided by 5, well, 100 divided by 5 is 20. 40 divided by 5 is 8, so you get 28. So the length is 28, so L equals 28, and it would be yards. So labeling it again, labels are important. Remember that the area is in square units, like yards squared, but then the length and width would just be regular units, like yards. So do your best in the practice assignment called Show My Work. I should include one more thing. So let me shrink the paper back down again. So then what you're going to do is you'll hand this in using Cami, but make sure you have your name. Make sure you wrote your name on it, or type it. Use your, the text tool. But I can't stress enough about zooming it in to write with your fingers so you can include drawings and labels. Make sure you're using your calculator to get correct answers. And you use the formula. Area of a rectangle is length times width. All right, over and out.